The knock came late, when the colony's artificial night had already dimmed the sky over Outpost Helios. Most people were asleep, and Cale Arden preferred it that way. Night meant fewer interruptions, fewer questions, and more time to work. Cale stood alone in his workshop, surrounded by half-built machines and humming power cells. He was an engineer, not a soldier or diplomat, and he liked things that followed rules. Metal obeyed force. Circuits followed logic. People were far more difficult. He wiped grease from his hands and frowned. No one visited at this hour unless something was wrong. The knock came again, slow, careful, almost uncertain. Cale moved toward the door, activating the security scan with a flick of his wrist console. The scanner hesitated, then flashed yellow, unknown biological signature, non-hostile, low energy levels. "That's new," Cale muttered. He unlocked the door but kept one hand near the emergency seal. The door slid open with a soft hiss. She stood there silently. She was tall, slightly taller than Cale, with pale, faintly glowing skin that shimmered like moonlight on water. Her eyes were large and dark, reflecting the corridor lights. Her form was humanoid but not human, too smooth, too precise, as if shaped by careful design rather than chance. And she was wearing his jacket. It was unmistakable. A dark utility jacket with reinforced fibers, built-in temperature control, and Cale's stitched name tag on the inside collar. He had lost it months ago during a rescue operation on the frontier. Under the jacket, there was nothing else. No armor, no tools, no visible technology. Cale froze, not out of fear, out of confusion. She noticed his reaction and slowly extended the jacket toward him, as if offering it back. "I have returned what belongs to you," she said. Her voice was soft, careful, like someone using sound for the first time. Cale cleared his throat. You can keep it on," he said quickly. "That's not a problem." Her head tilted slightly. "It was not designed for me. It has completed its function." Cale blinked. "Its function." She lowered her arm but did not remove the jacket. "Survival." That word caught his attention. "Come inside," Cale said after a moment. "You shouldn't be standing in the corridor." She hesitated, then stepped forward. The door closed behind her. Inside the workshop, the lights brightened automatically. Machines hummed softly and the air was warm and dry. The alien looked around, absorbing everything with quiet focus. Cale gestured toward a chair. "Please, sit." She remained standing. "I do not require rest." "Humans offer seats when they want to talk," Cale said. "It's polite." She considered this, then sat carefully, as if copying the idea of sitting rather than knowing it naturally. Cale leaned against a workbench, keeping a respectful distance. "My name is Cale Arden. That jacket you're wearing, it's mine, or was mine." "I know," she replied. "That is why I came." "Who are you?" he asked. "My designation does not translate well," she said. "You may call me Lyra." Cale nodded. "All right, Lyra, you said the jacket helped you survive. How?" She placed one hand over the fabric. "Your creation adapts. It learns the needs of its wearer. When I found it, my body was failing. The environment was lethal to my kind." Cale's stomach tightened. "You were on Kepra 9. "Yes." Kepra 9 was a dead world, toxic air, unstable gravity, no native life. Cale remembered that mission clearly, a transport crash. He had searched for survivors until his oxygen timer screamed at him to leave. He had lost the jacket during the evacuation. "You shouldn't be alive," Cale said quietly. "I was not," Lyra replied. "Not fully." She stood and slowly opened the jacket just enough to reveal her torso. There was no flesh beneath it, not in the way humans understood. Faint lines of light moved under her skin, pulsing gently, synchronized with the jacket's energy field. Cale stared, stunned. "My species exists in a fragile balance," Lyra said. "Without protection, we disperse. Your jacket stabilized my form." Cale swallowed. "It was never meant to do that." "But it did," she said simply. "That is why humans are feared." Cale laughed nervously. "We're engineers, not gods. Your kind creates without fully knowing the outcome, Lyra said. That is both dangerous and remarkable. Kale rubbed his face. So you came all this way just to give it back? Yes, and to see the one who made it. Kale straightened. Why? Because your object bonded with me, Lyra said, and through it I learned of you. Kale frowned. That's not possible. It is for my kind, she said. We interface with technology at a fundamental level. The jacket carried traces of your intent, your logic, your persistence. He didn't like how accurate that sounded. You could have kept it, Kale said. No one would have known. I would have known, Lyra replied, and the balance would be wrong. Silence filled the room. Kale exhaled slowly. You can't leave the jacket, he said. Not like this. You said it's stabilizing you. Yes, Lyra said. Without it I will fade. Kale's mind raced. Then taking it back would kill you. That is correct. Kale looked at the jacket again. A piece of clothing he had designed to protect miners from radiation storms. Nothing more. Or so he thought. Then why return it at all, he asked. Because it no longer belongs only to you, Lyra said. It is part of me now, but ownership matters to humans. Kale snorted softly. You've done your research, she nodded. Your data networks are extensive. Kale pushed himself off the bench. All right, let's slow this down. You're not dying tonight and you're not standing half-protected in my workshop. She watched him carefully. What do you propose? I propose we modify the jacket, Kale said. Separate its stabilizing function from the physical garment. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. That would be difficult. Kale smiled for the first time. Difficult is my job. He moved to a console and pulled up the jacket's original schematics. As he worked, Lyra observed silently, her head turning as holographic displays filled the air. You work without fear, she said. I'm terrified, Kale replied. I just don't let it stop me. She seemed to consider that deeply. Hours passed. The artificial night faded toward morning. Kale worked non-stop, fueled by focus and urgency. Lyra answered questions when asked, her explanations precise but alien. Finally, Kale leaned back, exhausted. I think I can build you a stabilizer, he said. Something portable. Something that doesn't belong to me. Lyra stood slowly. You would do this for me? Kale shrugged. Humans don't like leaving people stranded. You barely know me. That's never stopped us before. She looked at him for a long moment. Then I will stay, Kale blinked. Stay. Until the device is complete, Lyra clarified. And until I understand humans better. Kale smiled faintly. Careful, that can take a lifetime. That is acceptable, she said. Outside the workshop, the colony woke to a normal morning, unaware that first contact had just taken place, not with weapons or treaties, but with a lost jacket and a human who refused to walk away. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, forces far older than the colony had begun to notice. Morning at Outpost Helios never truly felt like morning. The artificial sun rose in stages, brightening the metal streets and glass domes with careful precision. For most people, it was just another work cycle. For Kale, it was the start of something he did not yet understand. Lyra stood near the workshop window, watching the colony come alive. Workers moved in ordered lines. Cargo drones hummed overhead. Everything followed patterns. Your world is very structured, she said. Kale handed her a warm drink in a sealed container. That's how we survive out here. Chaos kills faster than cold. She accepted the container but did not drink. Your people build order even where it does not belong. Kale smiled tiredly. Trust me, space doesn't mind. The jacket still rested on her shoulders. Kale had insisted she keep it until he finished the stabilizer. He could already see how deeply it had bonded to her. The fabric reacted to her movements faster than it ever had with a human wearer. You should stay out of sight today, Kale said. The Colony Council doesn't react well to surprises. I am not hostile, Lyra replied. They don't always care. Kale activated the privacy shield around the workshop. The hum of the field settled like a quiet promise. Then he turned back to his workbench where the first parts of the stabilizer were laid out. The design was human. The function was not. Lyra's species, as she explained, existed partly in a state humans would call energy. They required constant stabilization to maintain physical form. Their technology usually handled that need, but on Kepra 9, her systems had failed. "And you did not call for help?" Kale asked as he adjusted a power regulator. "There was no one left to answer," Lyra said calmly. That answer stayed with him longer than he liked. Hours passed as Kale worked. He modified power cores, rewrote firmware, and built interface nodes that could adapt in real time. Every solution created two new problems. Every failure pushed him harder. Lyra watched closely. "You are frustrated," she said. "Because this shouldn't work," Kale replied. "Human tech isn't designed for you." "But it does work," she said. "Your jacket proved that." Kale stopped and looked at her. "That was luck." Lyra shook her head slowly. "Luck does not repeat itself this often." A sudden alarm broke the moment. Kale's console flashed red. Unauthorized scan detected. His blood ran cold. "They're scanning my workshop," he said. "That means someone noticed the energy signature." Lyra stiffened. "My presence? Or the jacket," Kale said. "Either way, this isn't good." Before Kale could shut the system down, the door signal chimed. "Engineer Arden," a voice said. "This is Security Officer Harlan. We need to speak with you." Kale swore under his breath. "Stay behind me," he whispered to Lyra. The door slid open. Officer Harlan stepped inside with two armed guards. His eyes swept the room, sharp and practiced. Then they landed on Lyra. The air changed instantly. "What is that?" Harlan demanded. Kale moved slightly in front of her. "A guest." Harlan's jaw tightened. "That's an unregistered non-human entity inside a civilian zone." "She's not hostile," Kale said quickly. Lyra raised her hand slowly, copying a gesture she had seen humans use. "I mean no harm." Harlan ignored her and looked at the jacket. "That belongs to you, Arden." Kale nodded. "It does. And it's emitting energy spikes that triggered half our sensors." Kale took a breath. "Because it's saving her life." The guards shifted uneasily. Harlan laughed once without humor. "You expect us to believe that a jacket is keeping an alien alive?" "Yes," Kale said firmly. Silence followed. Harlan's eyes narrowed. "We'll need to take her into containment." Lyra's glow flickered slightly. "No," Kale said. "That wasn't a request." Kale stepped forward. "If you remove that jacket without proper stabilization, she dies." Harlan hesitated. "That sounds like a threat." "It's a fact." Lyra spoke then, her voice calm but stronger than before. "If you harm me, the device will fail catastrophically." Harlan stiffened. "What kind of catastrophic?" "The energy stored within it will release," Lyra said. "Your outpost will not survive." That was not a lie. Kale knew it instantly. Harlan stared at Kale, then back at Lyra. Finally, he raised a hand, signaling the guards to lower their weapons. "We report this to the council," Harlan said. "You're both confined to this workshop until further notice." Kale exhaled in relief. "That's fine." As the door sealed again, Kale leaned against the wall, shaking slightly. "That was close," he said. "Yes," Lyra agreed. "Your people are cautious." That's one word for it. Kale returned to the workbench with renewed urgency. Now the stakes were clear. He didn't just need to help Lyra, he needed to do it fast. The stabilizer took shape over the next 2 days. Kale barely slept. When he did, he dreamed of collapsing worlds and glowing figures fading into nothing. Lyra stayed near him the entire time. "You do not rest," she observed. "I will," Kale said, "after this works." She watched him with something like concern. "You are damaging yourself." He shrugged. "Worth it." On the third night, the device was ready. It was small, worn like a band around the chest, with a soft core that pulsed gently. Kale held it carefully, like it might break just from being looked at. "This should take over the stabilization function," he said. "Once it's active, the jacket won't be necessary." Lyra nodded. "Proceed." Kale hesitated. "There's a risk." "I know." He activated the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the air vibrated. Light rippled across Lyra's form, her glow flaring bright enough to light the room. The jacket reacted, fibers tightening, energy flowing into the stabilizer. Kale held his breath. Slowly, the jacket's energy output dropped. Lyra remained solid. Her glow steadied. Kale laughed in disbelief. It worked. Lyra touched her chest, feeling the stabilizer. I am stable. Kale stepped closer. How do you feel? Complete, she said softly. She reached up and removed the jacket. For the first time, she stood without it, her form supported entirely by human technology. Kale took the jacket from her hands, feeling its weight again. It was just fabric now. They stood there in silence. Then the workshop alarms blared again, louder this time. External threat detected. Kale's console filled with warnings, multiple ships approaching, not human. Lyra looked up sharply. They have found me. Kale's heart sank. Who? A rival collective, Lyra said. They seek my kind's technology. They will not negotiate. Outside, the sky darkened as unknown vessels slipped out of warp above the colony. Kale clenched his fists. He was just an engineer, but humans had faced worse odds before, and they had never backed down. The first shockwave hit the colony's shields like a hammer. Outpost Helios shuddered. Lights flickered. Alarms screamed across every channel. People ran through the corridors, fear spreading faster than sound. Kale grabbed the edge of his workbench to stay upright. They didn't waste time, he said. Outside the transparent dome, 3 massive ships hovered in perfect formation. Their surfaces bent light, making their true shapes hard to see. Energy gathered along their undersides, slow and deliberate. They believe fear weakens resistance, Lyra said. It often does. Kale looked at her. She stood calm, her glow steady, the stabilizer working perfectly. For the first time since he had met her, she looked whole. Can they breach the shields? Kale asked. Yes, Lyra answered. Eventually, Kale nodded once. Then we don't wait. He moved to the central console and opened a wideband channel to the colony command center. This is Engineer Kale Arden, he said. I have visual on the hostile ships. They're here for my guest. The council chair's face appeared on the screen, tense and pale. Arden security reports confirm non-human vessels. What do you suggest? Kale took a breath. I suggest you let me help. Silence followed. You're an engineer, the chair said carefully, not a tactician. Kale glanced at Lyra. Humans survive because we solve problems with what we have, not what we wish we had. Another explosion rattled the dome. A section of the shield flared dangerously. Speak, the chair said. Kale moved fast. The jacket I designed, its energy modulation is compatible with Lyra's species. That means it can interface with their tech. You want to talk to them? The chair asked. No, Kale said. I want to overload them. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. That would destroy their ships. Kale shook his head. No, just disable them long enough. The chair hesitated. And you're sure this won't destroy the colony? Kale met her gaze. I won't let it. The chair nodded. You have authorization. The screen went dark. Kale turned to Lyra. I need your help. I will give it, she said immediately. He handed her the jacket. Wear this again, just for a moment. She accepted it without hesitation and slipped it on. The fabric responded instantly, glowing faintly. Kale connected cables from the jacket to the workshop's main power conduit. Sparks danced as systems synced. Once I trigger this, Kale said, you'll need to focus. Push everything you have through the interface. Lyra nodded. Their systems are rigid. They do not adapt. Kale smiled grimly. That's their mistake. Another blast struck the shields. Cracks of light spread across the dome. Now, Kale said. He hit the switch. Energy surged. The jacket flared bright white and the stabilizer on Lyra's chest resonated in harmony. Invisible waves rippled outward, slicing through space itself. The hostile ships reacted instantly, but too slowly. Their energy fields twisted, systems feeding back into themselves. Lights flickered across their hulls. Weapons shut down mid-charge. Inside the largest ship, chaos erupted. Kale watched the data streams with awe. It's working. Lyra closed her eyes, concentrating. Her glow intensified, spreading through the jacket and beyond. One by one, the enemy ships powered down, drifting lifelessly above the colony. Cheers erupted over the colony channels. Kale sagged against the console, exhausted. "We did it." Lyra opened her eyes. "No, you did." Before Kale could respond, a new signal appeared, a transmission request. "From them?" Kale asked. Lyra nodded. "They are afraid now." Kale accepted the transmission. A distorted figure appeared on the screen, tall, angular, its form held together by harsh, artificial stabilization. "You interfere in matters beyond your species," the figure hissed. Kale leaned forward. "You came to our home. That makes it our matter. You protect what is valuable to us," the figure said. "Give her to us." Kale shook his head. "She's not an object. She contains knowledge that does not belong to you," the figure snapped. Lyra stepped beside Kale. "I belong to myself." The figure recoiled slightly. "You choose impermanence over purpose." "I choose freedom," Lyra replied. Kale added, "And if you ever come back, we'll be ready." The transmission cut abruptly. Outside, the disabled ships drifted farther away as the colony's defense systems took control. The danger was over. For now. Hours later, the colony gathered in the central dome. Humans stood shoulder to shoulder, staring in awe as Lyra stepped forward beside Kale. The council chair addressed them. "Today, we survived first contact not through force alone, but through courage and compassion." She turned to Kale. "Engineer Arden acted without orders, without weapons, and saved this colony." Applause filled the dome. Kale shifted uncomfortably. "I just did what anyone should." Lyra looked at him. "That is what makes humans remarkable. You act before certainty." The council chair nodded. "Lyra, you are welcome here as an ally." Lyra inclined her head. "I accept." Days passed. Repairs began. Life returned to normal, but something had changed. Lyra worked alongside Kale in the workshop, helping adapt human technology for peaceful exchange. Her presence drew scientists, engineers, and dreamers. Word spread fast across human space. Humans had not just met an alien species, they had earned respect. One evening, as the artificial sun dimmed, Lyra stood by the window again. "Will they return?" Kale asked. "Yes," she said, "but not soon." Kale nodded. "Good." Lyra turned to him. "My people will hear of this." "Of you," Kale chuckled. "Tell them we're stubborn." "They already know," she said, a faint smile in her voice. She reached out and placed the jacket on the workbench between them. "It began with this," she said. Kale looked at it thoughtfully. "Funny how small things change everything." "Humans change everything," Lyra replied. Outside, the stars burned bright and endless. And somewhere among them, the galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans did not need to be the strongest. They only needed to care enough to stand their ground.